Good evening. I'm Chris Matthews up in New York, and we have a big show for you tonight. It's becoming clear that Donald Trump was handed a crushing defeat on Tuesday night. When all the votes are counted, Democrats are on track, catch this, to gain an astounding 35 to 40 seats, a huge victory for the Democrats. In the wake of that defeat, the president is focused on one thing, a naked power grab. That's the big news tonight. Trump has handed the reins of the special counsel's investigation to an unabashed Trump loyalist, a personal loyalist, to ensure that the president will be protected, not investigated. Trump's choice of Matt Whitaker as acting attorney general is raising alarm among those who consider the equal administration of justice a bedrock principle of American government. Well, that's because by elevating Whitaker, the president of the United States is effectively hijacking the independence of the Department of Justice itself. NBC News today reports that in the Justice Department, Whitaker was viewed as an agent of the White House. As one administration official said, it's no secret where his loyalties lie. They're with the White House, more than with the department. Outspoken Trump advocate, Whitaker has expressed disdain for the special counsel's investigation itself. In 2017, he tweeted an article calling Mueller's prosecutors a lynch mob. He argued in an op-ed that Mueller would be going too far by investigating Trump's finances. And he questioned the FBI raid of Paul Manafort's house, saying, do we want our government to intimidate us? Well, tonight, we're also now learning that Whitaker has prejudged the results of the Mueller investigation itself. Betsy Woodruff of the Daily Beast is reporting that in a radio interview in June of last year, Whitaker, who now oversees the Russian probe, comes to the conclusion that the president did not collude with Russia. Let's watch.
The truth is there was no collusion with the Russians in the Trump campaign. There was interference by the Russians into the election, but that is not the collusion with the campaign. And that's where the left seems to be just combining those two issues. And the last thing they want right now is the truth to come out and the fact that there is not a single piece of evidence that demonstrates that the Trump campaign had any illegal or even improper relationships with Russians. I mean, it's that simple.
Well, it's part of an emerging body of evidence revealing Whitaker's true feelings about the Mueller probe itself. Not only that, but Whitaker has also worked for and maintains a friendship with a key witness in the Russia investigation, former Trump advisor Sam Clovis, who's testified before the Mueller grand jury. And now Democrats, as well as several legal experts, say that questions about Whitaker's impartiality should bar him from overseeing the investigation of the president. However, according to the Washington Post, Whitaker has no intention of recusing himself from overseeing the special counsel probe, according to people close to him, who added they do not believe he would approve any subpoena, catch this, of President Trump as part of that investigation. He'd be against any subpoena of the president. The question tonight is, will the president get away with all this? I'm joined now by former Congresswoman Elizabeth Hardball, the Judiciary Committee during Watergate, and author of a new book, The Case for Impeaching Trump. Bret Stephens is, of course, a columnist with the New York Times. Robert Costa is national political reporter with the Washington Post. And Betsy Woodruff broke that story tonight for the Daily. Betsy, thank you for leading us off tonight. What do you got on this guy, Whitaker? It seems like he's been auditioning is a pretty good word, for auditioning for the role of Trump protector in the role of acting attorney general.
That's certainly the view within the Justice Department. One important piece of context to bear in mind as Whitaker has now risen to and taken power within DOJ is that he and Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General who was supervising the Mueller probe until Whitaker took Sessions' old job, don't really get along, according to a host of officials in the DOJ that my colleague Aaron Banco and I spoke with yesterday in the hours after Whitaker took that position. Rosenstein and Whitaker are not on the same page on a variety of issues. In terms of their personalities, our understanding is that they just don't mesh, and having those two people running this department at this time has led to a lot of friction. Additionally, of course, Rosenstein is a lifelong DOJ employee. He's been scrupulous about trying to appear to be by the book, trying to bend over backwards to comply with rules. Whitaker, in the meantime, as we reported just about an hour ago, has said just last year that he'd already forejudged the conclusions of the Mueller probe. He already claimed that this probe, which he is now supervising, was essentially without merit. And that's something that without a doubt will rankle not only career officials in the department, but also people fairly high up who have to work with Whitaker day to day.
Let me go to Robert. Robert, you're the Trump watcher for me, and I think that he's got steel ones to pull this off. I mean, it's unbelievable. He didn't go to Rosenstein. Everybody on the planet said he's got to go to Rosenstein as the fallback if he gets rid of Sessions. Out of nowhere, he picks in this guy who auditioned for the job protector for months. He got the job. How come we all thought he couldn't do this? And now he's just done it in our face. And nobody is trying to really stop him from doing this. He's taking control of his own investigation of him. It's all in his control now. It's breathtaking. And nobody in the Republican Party or in the Democratic Party has stood up and said, we're going to stop this. This will not stand. No one is saying this about his picking of Whitaker. How come?
Well, Democrats are certainly calling for his recusal.
Of course they're calling for it. That is so whiffy. Well, I don't know what the word is. Of course he's not going to recuse himself. He took the job not to recuse himself. Why would they be calling for him to do it? He's now the acting attorney general. He doesn't have to listen to the Democrats.
Well, they're going to have to make a choice. Are they going to call for the president's impeachment for this kind of move?
Do you think they will?
Someone who has...
Do you really think they will for picking the guy he wants as attorney general? That's impeachable.
We haven't seen that kind of message yet from the Democrats. In fact, the Democratic leadership is talking about possible deals with the president.
Okay, I'm going to go Liz Holtzman. I mean, I'm not saying anybody in the past is better than today, but I have never seen such wet liberalism. It's all wet and gooey. Gee whiz, please recuse yourself. How about using the power given to you by your office and stopping this? And he's picked his guy to take. He's not going to answer questions. Giuliani's working in the back room. Chris Christie wants to be the full-time attorney general. They're all in this together. They're not going to give it away. They got it.
Right.
And he lost 35 to 40 seats in the House, and he's still grabbing for power.
It's not an issue of weak liberalism. It's just weakness.
It is. It's weakness.
It's not. It's just weakness because this is something that affects Republicans, Democrats, Independents. Are we a banana republic? Do we have a president of the United States who can stop investigations into himself, his family, his friends?
Well, when you got bananas for the opposition, you got a banana republic.
Well,
because I don't hear anybody saying we're going to fight courts.
It needs to be fought in the courts, and it's not clear who's got the power to do it. There are a few other questions here. Is the appointment even legal? Forget about it, recusal.
Okay, wait a minute. You say legal. That means the Supreme Court that he's just stacked with his guy, with his deciding vote, is going to pull away his new acting attorney. You really think this Supreme Court, led now by the decisive vote of Brett Kavanaugh, who also was picked because he's a Trump guy, who believes in a broadening. This guy, Brett Stevens, and this guy, Matt Whitaker, all believe in strengthening the power of the president.
Well, I mean, look, we're going to find out if Whitaker actually tries to quash the investigation. Look, the good news is that the Mueller probe is far...
How about starving it? Forget squashing it. How about getting rid of their computers and their staff?
There are all kinds of ways. You're absolutely right. There are all kinds of guerrilla-style tactics that Whitaker can employ to basically destroy the Mueller investigation. I don't think it's going to be so easy for him to do that. Why? First of all, because the investigation is very far along. We're now 18, 19 months into it. Secondly, Congress is soon going to have subpoena powers to find out what Mueller knows. And thirdly...
Who will enforce those subpoenas? What court?
Well, well, maybe.
You think Kavanaugh is his first major act in history?
I don't know.
It's going to be the fifth vote for supporting.
Well, you should know this. Congress can actually haul someone who's in contempt of Congress.
Well, they're going to send the sergeant at arms?
You betcha.
All right, okay, Elizabeth, that's an absurd. They're going to send the sergeant at arms, a political appointee, to go to the White House and demand the president show up.
Look, Congress has subpoena powers, and if Trump wants to make himself look guilty, the quickest way he can do that is trying to quash the report. I think Robert Mueller has sufficient political credibility, precisely because Democrats did make such gains in the House, that it's dangerous for Trump simply to try to kill the Mueller probe. It simply makes him look guilty.